Welcome. You are joining us in part 2 of a 2-part series all about helping people create their very first digital products. In this video, you're going to watch Todd help Lindsay, a successful online marketer, transition into creating her products. If you have not yet watched video 1, you need to start there. So up here in the upper right corner is an info card for you to select. Click on that info card, watch video 1 first, and then jump back to this video to learn more about how to actually sell the product and some of the logistics that you need to take into consideration and prepare for when transitioning into your own products.
Once you do get your trainings done and you've got it ready to launch, some of the ways that you can promote that, okay, because that's the other question people have is, well, how do I promote something like that? And especially with a lower end product like that, it doesn't really make a lot of sense until you have that at least that second tier product, $200 product or $300 upsell in place. It doesn't make a lot of sense to run Facebook ads because you're not going to be profitable on a $7 product running Facebook ads. Okay, you're just not, or any other type of ads. Okay, it's the cost of getting a customer is too high. So you're going to want to promote it with free content. You're going to want to promote it with possibly affiliates. You know, if you can find affiliates for that, or just other people that maybe you can get in front of. If they have a podcast, see if you can jump on their podcast, or if you can feature them on some of your content, or do like some sort of an exchange, right? Lee and I have done that with other people, where we promote them and they promote us, and it's kind of like a fair exchange. You can do that. Anybody else that you know in the industry that's willing to help promote you is a good idea. So going to events, which I know that you do, and you've made some good connections, that's always beneficial. But yeah, those sorts of ways are going to be the best way to promote a low-end product like that, as well as obviously having your own list of people. But once you do get that second and third tier product in place, that is when you want to start looking at doing some paid advertising, especially once you know that it's converting well. You'll want to learn how to create webinars and sales funnels. Okay, that's going to be the next step, especially once you start putting paid advertising in place. You need to get good at webinars and you need to get good at sales funnels. Okay, and that's a whole nother thing that we don't have a lot of time to go into in this. Like Lee and I have bought, I think, 4 training courses on webinars and a couple on. Actually, we spent a lot of money on learning how to build funnels. Those are 2 things that are really going to help you to promote those courses. And the other thing that I'll tell you is that once you have your value ladder in place, stick with it. Okay, because what a lot of people try to do is once they have one product and it sells well, right, and they've kind of run it through their entire list, and everybody on their list is bought, and sales start to slow down. What people typically want to do is they want to create a whole nother product, right? And then market that to their list. And when we see people do that, typically what happens is that their sales start to stagnate, okay? Because they just pump out product after product after product, and they're not really able to break through that threshold of 6 or multiple 6 figures, right? In order to really get to 7, you look at the 7-figure earners, they've only got 2 or 3 products. Right. If you look at people who've really done well in the internet marketing space and digital products, they've got, some of them only have 1, right? Some of them really only have 1, but they've got a sales funnel in place. They've got their value ladder that's working well for them, and they just find new ways to promote it. And what they work on is getting more people into the funnel, right? Rather than trying to promote new stuff to their existing, to their existing list, they work on just expanding the list, right? Okay. So think about that as well. And obviously, you want, the other thing that you want to do is have some sort of a continuity program, and this is long term. Okay, in order to get those customers to buy again and again and again, is to have some sort of a continuity program in place on the very back end. Okay, and that's what that's going to be your moneymaker long term, is getting people into some sort of a long term membership program where they're paying, $10 a month, $30 a month, $100 a month. I've seen some that they're paying $200 a month for if it's really high value. Some are even more than that if you want to get into the more elite mastermind type of groups. But in the long run, you want to have some sort of continuity program where your biggest fans can continue to get that access to you, right? And they'll gladly pay it, right? As long as you continue to put out that value. And really, that's what people want to be able to pay for is the access. It's not necessarily more training, but it's the access to you and to your expertise and to your feedback and to get that personal handholding. And that's the other thing that I'll say is that with whenever you think about bonuses, whenever you think about upsells, downsells, or things that you can add on where people, where people are paying you more money for things, right, for an upsell, the things that really do well are things that are done for you or more access to you, such as smaller group coaching or personal coaching. Leah and I have done things in the past where we've given away like 4 coaching sessions for free, 4 one-hour coaching sessions for free as a bonus, right? And that's always done really well. And you can limit that by time. So you can say, for anyone who purchases before midnight, you're going to get this and this and this bonus, right? That's what we call our fast action bonuses. The other way you can do that is you can say, for the first 10 people only, because this is going to take my personal time, I'm going to give away 4 one-hour coaching sessions to the first 10 people who buy tonight, right? That's the other way to do it. And that way, if you're giving away your personal time, that's how you know you're not going to give away too much of it. But obviously, those people who are taking you up on those offers are going to be the most engaged. They're going to be the ones that are going to be most willing to give you those reviews. What other questions do you have? I want to make sure that I cover all my bases here.
Just lastly, if you are doing kind of an evergreen product, like you mentioned, you don't want to keep creating new things. Mm-hmm. Would you want to add on maybe updated bonuses as you're doing that to continue to kind of like from year to year to get new people, maybe the people who have been thinking about it, but, and this is more of a long-term strategy, the people who are thinking about it, but maybe haven't pulled the trigger for money reasons or something, that you would change some of that content around to entice them to buy the same product, but with maybe a little bit different spin on it.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, and there's always sorts of things. There's always different things you can do throughout the year, like Black Friday, right? We do Black Friday deals every Black Friday where, and we actually have it, we've got it separated out between people who have bought stuff from us before, get a deeper discount, and then people who have not yet bought anything, still get a great discount, but not as much as our existing customers, right? So we do that to entice more sales. We always keep and that's the other thing, is that when you're putting your training courses together, one of the things you want to try to do is to create the course in a way where you have to update it as little as possible. Because that can take a lot of your time whenever, for example, like, our Instagram and our Twitter course, those are 2 platforms that update constantly. And we find, every 4 to 6 months, we're adding some sort of major update to the course. And so that's one of the things that, again, we wish we had done differently, is done some sort of other training or some other product where we don't have to constantly update it like that. Mm-hmm. But that's another thing that yeah, you can always add some sort of a bonus. Here's the way I do it, is that whenever someone goes through your funnel, you should have a tag that's added to them that says, hey, they opted into Lindsay's prospecting webinar, right? And then you can see anyone who has that tag but has not yet purchased the product yet. And so for those people, right, you can send out a special email and say, hey, notice that you went through our training. I've got a special deal going on right now that if you purchase the course within the next, and you always want to give them a deadline, right? You don't want to leave it just wide open. But say, anyone who purchases the course within the next, 72 hours, I'm running a special right now where you're also going to get X, right? You're going to get 2 free coaching sessions with me, or you're going to get 2 free webinars where you can put your entire MLM team in front of me to ask questions, or whatever it is that you want to offer, and just put a deadline on that, right? Add some scarcity and say that this is only good for a certain amount of time, and just put the offer out there. But that's why the tagging that you do in your CRM and your email marketing system is so important, that that they opted into this but didn't buy, right? And so you're able to figure that out and send that offer specifically to those people.
Very good. That's really great information.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll say is that when you're creating the course, you want to the way that we have always done it is, this always reminds me of like creating an essay in high school, right? Where you have your topics and then your subtopics and all that. And I know that you're really organized, but when you think about a course, you always want to put it into a logical order, right? And make it as step-by-step as possible, right? The things that people are willing to pay for is not necessarily the information, right? I mean, they think it's the information, but really what you're selling them is, giving it to them in a format where they're going to be able to get a result, right? Where they don't have to go through searching through 1,000 different YouTube videos and try to piece it together themselves, right? What you're selling them is the shortcut. Okay, what you're selling them is a shortcut. What you're selling them is the result. And so you want to be able to put it together in a way that makes sense, where they can go from A to B to C and they can connect all the dots and understand everything. And the other thing, because I think you mentioned this before, is that you said you want to put together more advanced training. With any sort of a paid training, you want to market to the broadest audience possible, okay? Especially with a low ticket offer. And so your goal should not be to make it more advanced. What it should be is more in depth. It shouldn't be teaching them like your first thing shouldn't be teaching a brand new network marketer how to put together a sales funnel. Okay, let me put it that way. It's just going to be, that'll make them quit. Okay, if you try to teach them that, they're going to quit because it'll just be, it's just going to be so overwhelming. You want to strive for simplicity. One of the greatest quotes I ever heard that really struck a chord with me is that any idiot can make something complicated, but it takes a genius to make something simple. And that's what you really want to be able to do, is take something that seems hard and simplify it as much as possible. And so when you see the trainings that Leah and I do, whenever we're on the screen, we're always pointing out every single thing that we're doing. Even if, we'll say, you want to double click over here, right? And you want to click this hyperlink right here. And we're very descriptive in the way that we describe what to do, because there's people that need that. And that's typically the type of person that nobody wants to help, because it's so boring and tedious to tell people, okay, you need to single click here. No, this is a hyperlink. You don't double click it. You just single, those sorts of really, just small little details are what most people need, right? And that's what people are willing to pay for. Now, obviously, you want to add some more advanced stuff in addition to that, but what I'm saying is don't ignore the simple stuff. Whatever type of business you want to build, the information is out there. Any college degree that you want, you could buy textbooks, you could go on YouTube and get the training elsewhere, and you could basically educate yourself on whatever they're teaching in college, right? What people are willing to pay to go to college for is getting it in a format to where they can actually become a professional, learn it within a given period of time, and then also, obviously, they're paying for the degree, right? But that's basically what we're doing here as well. We're giving them the information in a way that they can get a result quick. Okay, we're giving them the shortcut, because a lot of the information that's out there, you could get it, right? But you've got to go through thousands of hours of videos to figure it out, and then you still have to trial and error it, right? Because there's people giving different advice. There's people that they're not giving the full training in a way that makes sense to people. So don't try to get too complicated. That's one of the things that we got in trouble with our first course, is that we taught some super advanced stuff in there, and it was so far over people's heads that I know that you have our Ultimate Tweet Leverage course, but we used to teach a software in there that it was so complicated that even though we taught step by step, it was like it was just so so complicated for most people that they just had issues with it, and they had so many issues we had to change the training, replace the software that we were teaching to something that was simpler, that would actually get people results, right? And so I don't want to say that we dumb it down, but again, it's that thing of you don't want to make something complicated. Any idiot can make something complicated. You want to be able to take something and simplify it to a point where anybody can get it. Okay, and if you can do that, even with the most obvious subject matter, if you can take it and simplify it to a point where anybody can get it and get a result with it, that's where the money is. Right? That's where the real money is, and then you can market that to anyone. Then you have just a huge base of people that are willing to pay you money for that. Right? As you get more complicated, as you get more advanced in your training, your market for people that you can sell that to shrinks. Right? Obviously, the price point goes up as well, but the number of people that you can market to shrinks. But I would say start with the simple stuff, because that's where you're going to find the most people that are going to be willing to buy. That's where you're going to have the most success, and that's what you can build on, so that later on you can do the more advanced stuff. Well, I hope that helps, right?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Because I really, I think I was kind of making it more complicated of, what do I need to teach? What do I need to teach? Well, what are the people asking for? Like, what are all the people asking for that they're struggling with? and put it into something very simple that is going to get them the results that they want, and they will be happy to pay for it and give me good testimonies if they're getting the results that they want.
Yep, definitely. And the other thing I'll say is focus on one problem at a time. Okay, because the other thing that a lot of people will do is they will try to throw in like everything into one training course. Like, you know, you learn how to generate leads, you learn how to get followers. And we did this with our first landing pages, right? Learn how to get, you know, followers and leads and sales and signups and, you know, recruit and sponsor and call your leads, all this. It is all this stuff, right? And, you know, it's like a restaurant menu, right? And you'll see this with the most successful restaurants, the restaurants that are charging the highest prices and are doing the best business. Their menu is one page, and it's mostly all the same ingredients, right? Whereas you see other restaurants that maybe aren't as successful, and they have a menu that's 15 pages long. They got American food, they got Tex-Mex, they got Asian, they got, you know, and they got all these, a variety of different foods. And when they've done studies on this, what they found is that when you give people too many options, they just don't make a decision, right? And it's very much the same thing when you're selling a digital course online, is that when you try to give them too much and you throw too many things in there and you try to throw in too many benefits, it's just information overload for people, right? And so if you can just focus on one big problem, right? Just focus on one big problem and solve that. Right, so you don't want to do Facebook prospecting and calling and closing and sponsoring and blah 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 and all this, right? You try to toss that all into one thing, you know, it waters it all down. Just focus on one thing with each product and solve that one problem and just really kill it with that one problem and solve that. And that's where you're going to get the best results. That's where you're going to get the highest conversions.
Thank you so much. This was very helpful.
Great. Is there anything else, any other bases that we need to cover here for you?
No, you really covered it. I feel like I have some really good clarity about getting that first paid product out there.
Great. Yeah. And for anybody else that's listening to this, if you've thought about doing a digital product and selling a digital product online, you know, the same things apply, right? Whether you're, you know, I've seen people teach, you know, there's a guy out there that, you know, his digital product is just teaching people how to jump higher. That's it. He's got a whole 7-figure business that he has built simply on teaching people how to jump higher. And he markets that to basketball players. There's other people that, you know, we've seen webinars for. This one lady is teaching people how to dress themselves in a way that fits their figure. And she sells a $200 training product on that, and she does very well with it. We've seen people, you know, teach all sorts of things with digital products, whatever their passion is. But the thing is, they focus on one thing, and then they have a value ladder, right? They start out with a very low ticket offer. Then they have, you know, once you buy that, they try to solve the next problem, and then they try to solve the next problem, or they give you higher levels of access. And so there's all sorts of ways that you can take your expertise, you can take your passion, and turn it into a digital online business and be very successful with it. If you want to learn more about how to start your own business online, whether it's affiliate marketing, digital product sales, or, you know, anything else that you want to do online, even if it's network marketing, click the link in the description below. We've got our #1 recommended resource for learning exactly how to do that. Lindsay, thank you so much for your time. I hope that this is very helpful for you and helpful for everybody else who is watching. Once again, my name is Todd Yetz from toddandleahray.com. Take care, everybody. See you next time.